Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nicole, and this is a podcast about knitting, fiber, natural dyes, plants, and all that good stuff. So today I'm here to talk about my finished shawl, which has just been blocked and it's finally dry. This is the Razon poetica. I will also be talking about the leggings that I'm knitting. I'll be talking about natural dyes. I'll be talking about this really cool knitting challenge that will start in February and go all the way until September 2021. And yeah, I'll also talk about one of my favorite plants at the end of the podcast. So if you're not interested in herbalism or plants, you could just forget about that. Or listen as you craft, knit, crochet, weave, spin, whatever you're doing. Okay, let's go. Okay, so first I want to talk about this lovely creation. This is my Razon poetica by Beagle Knits. The pattern is available in both Spanish and English if anyone is interested, and I would highly recommend it. If you've ever done brioche before, this is like phase 2 of brioche masterclass. And I've been knitting this forever. Let me show you how big it is. I have to say that the pattern is written for fingering weight, and I used lightly superwashed sport. And I say lightly superwashed because of the superwash. I think it grew so much in the blocking. Like, this is massive. Like, I can't even like stretch it out enough. But I love it. It's like a big hug. So this pattern is definitely challenging. I remember there were some rows here at the end where it took me like an hour just to do one row, and I would have to sit there in silence, no music, no podcast, no nothing, because I would get very easily distracted. But it is definitely a lesson in patience and calm, and yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. So this is knit with Tonic sport yarn. I told her what I wanted to do and the colors that I wanted, and she sent me basically personalized kits so that I could dye this with logwood and this with logwood and chamomile, which I think is fascinating because chamomile is yellow, logwood is like purpley lavender, and then you get like this gray. People say it's green. I think it's gray, but it definitely has like these amazing colors in person. Oh, I love it. And when you're knitting brioche, it is a good idea to put in lifelines. I don't. And then I have problems. Like here, let's see if I could find it. I don't even know. Yeah. Here, I think I was supposed to do a 5 increase like these, but I forgot. So then in the next round I did a 10 increase, and then you have like a big hole like this. But you know, in the grand scheme of things, in this massive shawl, you're not even gonna notice. And I'm pretty sure that I'm not the first person to do a 10 stitch increase in one. I'm pretty sure that like Stephen West has done that in a pattern on purpose. So I'm okay with that. And yeah, I highly recommend this pattern. I think it's a really nice challenge for someone who has done brioche before, which I have done brioche before, but really brioche, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's like, really all it is like a knit stitch and then yarn over, a knit stitch, yarn over, knit stitch, yarn over. So it's, once you get into it, it has a really nice rhythm. And when you're doing, okay, so this pattern was inspired by a philosopher from here in Andalusia, a woman named Maria Zambrano, and she had this theory of poetic reason, like mixing like reason and poetry, I guess. So here we have the reason section, then we have the poetry, then reason again, then poetry, and then the double brioche, which is the poetic reason. And yeah, I'm very, very happy to be finished with this. This has been like such a long time knitting and everything, but I loved it. And actually, I just signed up for, so big, I just signed up for an online class through Christy Glass, who has this like online event called Knit and Escape. And so I signed up for the Brioche Adventures course with Sosu of Sosu Knits, and Sosu has so many amazing brioche patterns, so I'm really excited for her class because I think I will learn lots of fun stuff. So yeah, I would highly recommend this pattern. Again, it's by Beagle Knits, Antonio, and maybe if you knit it, I would suggest you do it in fingering weight or even lace, like, I mean, but you know, he has a modified version of the pattern if you want to do it in DK. So it's like smaller. But I started with the fingering weight one, even though I was using sport. I was like, I don't care if it's a schlanket, and it is such a schlanket, and it smells really good because I don't have any like blocking soap or like wool wash. So I just made like a strong infusion of lavender and rosemary and then put that in the water and let it soak in there. So it smells like lavender and rosemary, and it's beautiful. So love my Razon poetica. I'm very excited about it. Oh, and also let me tell you, this top that I'm wearing, like with layers, this is wool also that I naturally dyed. I'm sure I talked about it in a previous video. This is a top by Heather and Hops by Kat, and I love this pattern, and I love that I could wear it in the summer because it's sleeveless, or in the winter, like to cover my neck and keep me warm with a little bit of wool. And I naturally dyed this with Vitex. Okay, I also want to talk about what I have in my beautiful little bag from Ailema Loca. I am knitting a shawl in a group knit-along that we organized for the pattern of Jupiter by Marianela Gallo. And the pattern is really nice. In comparison to like the concentration that I needed for this, it was really nice to knit on something so lovely and so easy to follow, and the pattern is it's very well written. This is yarn, again by Tintika. She dyed it for me, and she did like natural speckles with like this really cool like greenish gray blue. Oh, I love it. Natural colors are just amazing. I feel like they all go really well together. And I actually made a little bit of mistakes on the lace here because I think it was like the week of the earthquakes here in Granada. They weren't strong earthquakes, but they definitely like shook us up a little bit. I don't know what was going on. And I was also trying to finish this, and so I made a bunch of mistakes, and I went back and I fixed them. Aren't you proud of me? I'm learning. I'm growing as a knitter. So I went back, I fixed them, and now we are on track again. And I'm really excited. It's been really nice because we're doing the knit along, and so we have an Instagram group where we can chat and ask questions and share pictures. There are like multiple people in the group who have already finished their shawl, which is shocking to me. People are such fast knitters. I don't know, I think I'm really slow or something, but it's okay. This is what we love to do. This way I have more time knitting. That's what I want, right? So I'm very excited about it. Oh, and we've also been doing like online Zoom meetups every week, which has been really fun, and to get to know people from all over the world. We have people in England, in Chile, in Canada, in Australia, here in Spain, and so it's been like a really nice way to hang out with people every week and just knit and chat, and yeah, so really excited about my Jupiter knit along, and there will be knit alongs in the future because this has been really fun. Okay, now I'm gonna show you what I had living in this beautiful little bag by Sandbags, who is a bag maker here in Spain. I love her work. Look at the inside with these like little circles. I love it. So these are my cake leggings by Mother of Pearl, and they're awesome. They are growing. So this has been really fun. This is also part of a knit along where we met on Zoom once a week to like hang out, get to know each other. There were people from Canada, from the United States, and we're all knitting the pattern. So it's fun because if there's any doubt or any questions, and yeah, it was just really nice to have that every Sunday. We're finished now. I haven't finished my pants, but I will. And yeah, at the beginning I did have to like go back and rip back because there was a problem with the short rows, but now the pattern is fixed. And I actually added some extra short rows in the butt so that I can have space for all my cake. I didn't know that cake was a thing for the way people call butts, but I have a little cake stitch marker. I've been putting little markers, progress keepers, as I make the decreases on the leg, and that's been really nice because I like go back and forth. Like I'll knit up to here on this leg and then I'll put it on hold to try them on, and then I moved over to this one, so I've just been kind of going back and forth. So now this is on hold and this is where I'm knitting, and you can see I have these little needle stoppers that I got in my Christmas Advent swap, which is really fun. So this yarn, some of it is from my Christmas Advent swap because I've been like marling 3 strands together, 2 sport and 1 fingering. So you can see like over here I have this blue, so all the yarn is basically naturally dyed Tintika yarn. This is my yarn, which is actually left over from my top of Vitex. This is a little hippie and herbally, but because Vitex is really good for the reproductive system, the ovaries and everything, I was like, I'm gonna put it on the waistband so that I can have it around my hips and around my waist. I don't know, that's just me making things up, but so I started off with some Vitex, then I incorporated a strand of fingering from Tintika's Natural Dye Speckle kit, and then here we have like some madder dyed yarn, and then this was my leftover from the Triple Cochineal kit, and then I started incorporating some of the Advent Calendar acid dye yarns over here where we have like more like the blues and stuff. And actually it's really nice because I love that I can remember like all of the yarn and what it's from. Like this yarn is from a friend from the Advent swap, this green, which is Malabrigo. And I'm like in the woods and I'm hearing noises. And so it was really nice because I was knitting on this on Christmas Eve and it was like red and green. I was like, oh, look at how perfect. So I can remember Christmas Eve 2020 when I was knitting these pants. And now as I get down to the bottom, I'm using some of the yarn that's left over from my shawl. And I feel like naturally dyed yarns just go so well together. And I'm really happy with the progress. I love them. I think they're gonna be really heavy because the pattern is designed with this really beautiful yarn. I think it's like Le Francis Handmade or something. I'll put the information down below. And that yarn is like really airy and light. It's an Aran weight. And so I don't know, I think that mine's gonna be really heavy, but I'm excited. I think it'll be fun to wear around the house. I don't know if I'll go anywhere in these, maybe to a knit festival one day. So I'm excited. I hope to finish them next time I see you all. Okay, also I wanted to talk to you about the Knit 3 Words Challenge, which is being organized by Antonio of Beagle Knits, the one who designed this shawl, and Marta and Miguel from Merino Feroz, which is like a knitting school here in Madrid. I mean, they do online classes now and everything. But last year, they organized a challenge where they picked 3 words at random, and anyone who had a knitting podcast or wanted to start a knitting podcast could take those 3 words and design something. And that was how I got here and started making these videos and talking to you all about my fiber adventures. So this year we have another edition of the Knit 3 Words Challenge. Anyone out there who might be interested in starting your own podcast or already have one and want to take part, please send me a message because there are a few of us who are going to be doing it in English, and I think that's really fun. So this year, the challenge will start on February 28th, so the end of February 2021, and it will go until September 1st. I think September 1st, 2021, you should have your pattern finished. It can be anything. Last year, it was only accessories, but this year it's whatever you want. So you can design a sweater, you could design a shawl, a hat, fingerless mitts, socks, whatever, pants, skirts, whatever you want. So the words will be chosen out of a hat on the 28th of February, but the week before, Antonio and Marta and Miguel are going to be accepting suggestions for the 3 categories. So I'm going to say the 3 categories here now, and if you want to participate just by adding some words that will be part of the drawing and maybe your word will be chosen, please leave them down below. So the categories are mythology. So any word or like group of words that have to do with mythology. Meteorology. So any word or group of words that have to do with meteorology. And the last one is ways to dye yarn. So any word or group of words of ways to dye yarn. Ways to dye yarn: naturally dyed, eco-printed, acid dyes. I was even thinking like when dyers take a picture and are inspired by the picture to dye the yarn. Or like speckles, or dip dyed, or undyed. Imagine you could do undyed. So all of those are options for that. Mythology, I mean, you could say just something like Greek mythology, or you could say Hera or Artemisa, or you could say Brigid. By the way, happy Imbolc. Yesterday and today is Imbolc. If you don't know about Imbolc, I'll leave a podcast down below that explains a little bit about this Celtic holiday. I definitely ate bread and butter to celebrate, and I blocked my shawl, which apparently Bridget, okay, long story, but if you don't know Imbolc, I'll leave that information down below. So mythology, anything to do with dragons, whatever you want to say. And then meteorology, I mean, you could say lightning, rainbow, twister, rain, sunshine, like any word that has to do with meteorology. Climate change, chemtrails, whatever you want. Okay, so that is the Knit 3 Words Challenge, and I hope that you will follow along or maybe take part. Last year, the words were chosen from 3 categories, which were a place, a feeling, and colors. So the colors were colors that taste like good weather, which I think was really funny, and I chose colors that like looked like the beach. And then a feeling was intensity, and I did like an all over cable cowl, and also intensity because I started doing these podcasts. And the place was El Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia, which I love Bolivia and everything about Bolivian culture, so I actually designed mine based on Bolivian food, salteña, from like the salteña from the salt mines of Uyuni. So you can watch my first video where I explained that whole inspiration and everything. And yeah, let's see what happens this year. I'm excited to find out what the words will be and get started on that. Okay, and I also wanted to talk to you about the New to You Make Along 2021. I'll put the hashtag down below, which is organized by a bunch of people, a bunch of podcasters in the States. And it's basically something that they organize, a make along every year, so that people leave their comfort zones and try new crafts, new hobbies, new things. So if you look at the hashtag, you can see people trying crochet for the first time, trying macrame, trying spinning or weaving or making something new. So I decided I wanted to try my hand at making creams, like cream out of, I make a lot of like infused oils, like maybe an oil with hypericum or with calendula or something like that. And I wanted to try like emulsifying it and making it into a cream. It's something that I've always been very hesitant about because I know that once you add water to the oil and turn it into a cream, its shelf life decreases immensely. But I have a recipe and I'm gonna try that, so maybe I'll put some footage in the next video or something, but that goes on if anyone else wants to try something new until the 14th of February. So there's still time to try something new, or really you can try something new whenever you want because it's fun. But check out the hashtag because you can get a lot of inspiration and see what other people are doing. So yeah. Oh, also I wanted to talk about the Beltane Swap. So I am part of the swap that's going on, which is really cool. In January, they did a drawing of all the people who said they were interested in participating and matched us with someone to knit for, and then someone got matched with me to knit for me or someone else. And I'm really excited because I already know who I'm knitting for, and I already have my yarn on the way. It's actually probably arriving today. Really excited. But my idea is not to share anything on my Al Sol y Punto podcasts until I've already given her, it's a her, yeah, I know, I gave that away because there are guys too, until I've given her the shawl. So I'm really excited to like document my progress. I have really cool ideas about that, and I'm so excited that someone is like thinking about me and knitting me a shawl. I think that's really, really cool. So yeah, we will see. Hello! Okay, so today I'm sitting in a park here in Granada on a sunny Saturday with Oso, and I wanted to talk a little bit about a lovely plant named Angelica. So Angelica is a beautiful plant. Apparently there are about 60 species of this biennial herb. Which mainly grows in the northern hemisphere, but I would be curious to hear if anyone knows of a similar plant that grows in the southern hemisphere. In Chinese medicine, if you're familiar with that, you might know this plant as Don Quai. It is this large, beautiful, like starburst of flowers, which is a great attractor for pollinators and a variety of insects. And the roots are used in medicine and flavoring. It's also like used very much as an aromatic to flavor gins or brandy or something. You can use the first year leaves, it's 2 years. So the first year you get these like shoots of leaves which are close to the ground, and then the second year it can grow up to like 2.5 meters, which is like 8 feet tall. It typically grows in damp soils like near rivers or in a shaded area. We have a lot of it growing here up in the park of the Alhambra, and then up in the mountains behind the Alhambra. That's where I have seen it and know it from. It's well known for helping with arthritis. It's anti-cancer, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antivirus, anti-anxiety. It is a bitter herb, and normally bitter herbs tend to be very cooling, but Angelica is actually warming, and I don't know, I think it has a really interesting flavor. The roots of it, I have the roots of it dried, which I bought at just an herbal shop. And now in the winter months, it's so nice to make a hot cup of tea of the roots, because I feel like it really warms me up. And it's something I'm drawn towards maybe after a big meal because of its like digestive properties. And it just makes me feel nice and warm, and I really like it. So I have this beautiful calendar that my sister-in-law gifted to me, which is by Rosemary Gladstar, and this month her plant is Angelica, and so she has like a really cool write-up below with a recipe, so I wanted to share that with you all. I hope that she doesn't mind, but I think that she believes that herbal medicine is people's medicine, and we should share this information. But I suggest you all to get the calendar because it's beautiful. So she says that according to legend, when the bubonic plague was spreading across Europe, the archangel Michael appeared to a monk in a dream holding this like beautiful massive plant, and said that it would be the remedy against the plague. So ever since then, it was known as the plant or the herb of the archangel. So that's where it gets the name Angelica. And it was used extensively in the Middle Ages as a remedy against respiratory problems, digestive problems, also as like a sleeping tonic, and a poultice, which you could use topically to heal any wounds or anything because of its antibacterial and antiviral properties, anti-inflammatory. Angelica is effective against cholera and dysentery, and apparently against the plague. So today, this plant has its place, all of this plant has its place at the table. The roots, the seeds, the leaves are all appetite stimulating. So recently, we have, because it is almost Imbolc, and you can really feel that spring is on the way, here in the south of Spain at least. And we are having the like first year shoots growing in all around the mountain and in the park. And so when I go up to the mountain with Oso, I will collect 1 or 2 little stalks, baby stalks of Angelica, and I bring them home to put into my smoothie. So maybe I'll make a smoothie with like mango, banana, and orange juice, and then put in a stalk of Angelica and blend it all up, and maybe some spinach or something else that's green. And it's delicious. It definitely has a very strong like anise-like flavor, fennel-like flavor, which is not my favorite. I'm sorry, Maria. I know you love it, but I'm gonna get into it. It's okay. I'm slowly, because I love Angelica. I really do. I think it's such a nice flavor. So I put that into my smoothie. So it's really good for stimulating appetite. I typically make these smoothies like in the middle of the morning before I start to prepare lunch and stuff. So I don't know. Here in Spain, we have like our big meal in the middle of the day. So it stimulates appetite. It's good for digestion. It alleviates gases. The fresh leaves can be used in fruit salads, says Rosemary Gladstar. Maybe that's where I got the idea of the smoothie thing, but it's good. I like the combination. You could use it in soups, in stews, in fish or poultry dishes. The stalks, you can make them, like steam them maybe, and apparently you can put them into like cakes or like pies, I guess, kind of, or stews, and it definitely has a very unique flavor. And Rosemary offers us a lovely DIY bitter tonic recipe, which I don't know, I feel bad giving away the whole recipe, but I'll just let you guys know, because why not? This is something that... So you take a jar and you put in some Angelica, like the dried root. You put in some fennel seeds. You put in some orange peel, and some cinnamon. And then you can fill that up with something like gin or vodka or brandy or just some apple cider vinegar. If you want to make it sweet, you can add some maple syrup or some honey, and then let that sit in there for like 3 or 4 weeks. And then you've got a delicious bitter tonic, which you can add to sparkling water, like a spoonful of, or just take a spoonful of before you eat, after you eat. So, it is a beautiful plant, Angelica, and I hope that you can all get to know Angelica nearby you. I don't know if it grows near you, if you're in the southern hemisphere. Again, I'd be curious to know if there's anything similar to Angelica. So, thanks for listening.